Picture a steak the size of a dinner table. That's what's sitting inside one giraffe. Thousands of pounds of red meat, standing 18 feet in the air, walking around the savannah right now. And you have never eaten a single bite of it. Neither is almost anyone you know. Not because it's illegal everywhere, not because it tastes bad. Something stranger is going on. Somewhere in human history, we looked at cows, pigs, chickens, sheep, and said yes. And we looked at the tallest, meatiest land animal on Earth and said no. Most people assume it's about size or danger or maybe just taste, but that's not quite right. The real reason has almost nothing to do with the giraffe's body. It has everything to do with something called the domestication filter. And once you understand it, you'll never look at your dinner plate the same way again. Because the same filter that rejected the giraffe is the same filter that built your entire diet. Stay till the end, because the last part isn't really about giraffes at all. It's about you and every meal you've ever eaten. Let's start with the obvious question. Could you even eat a giraffe if you wanted to? Technically, yes, giraffe meat is real, and in a few parts of Africa, people have eaten it for centuries. San hunter-gatherers in southern Africa hunted giraffe long before written history. They used every part: meat for food, tendons for bowstrings, bones for tools, tail hair for jewelry and fly whisks. So the taboo isn't universal. Somewhere, someone is proving the "we just don't eat giraffe" idea wrong right now. But here's what's fascinating. Even in places where giraffe hunting happened, it was never a main food source. It was rare, special, an event, not a diet. So what makes an animal a diet instead of an event? That's the real question. And the answer starts with a man named Jared Diamond and a puzzle he called the Anna Karenina principle. He noticed something odd about the animals humans have domesticated for meat: cows, pigs, sheep, goats, chickens. Out of thousands of large land mammals on Earth, humans successfully turned only a small handful into livestock. Everything else got left out. And it wasn't random. Every single animal that made the cut had to pass through the exact same narrow gate. Fail even one test, and the whole species gets rejected forever. Think of it like an audition with 5 brutal judges. Judge 1, what does it eat? An animal that eats meat or eats a huge variety of rare foods is expensive to raise. You need an animal that can live cheap on grass or scraps. Judge 2, how fast does it grow and how often does it breed? If an animal takes years to reach full size and only has one baby every few years, raising it for food barely pays off. Judge 3, will it breed in captivity, in front of you, in a pen? Some animals refuse. They need open space, privacy, or specific rituals humans can't recreate in a farmyard. Judge 4, what's its temperament? Does it panic, gore, kick, or bolt when it's stressed? Judge 5, does it have a social hierarchy a human can hijack? Animals that naturally follow a herd leader are easy to control. You just become the leader. Animals that don't have that instinct scatter. They can't be herded. They can't be fenced in as a group. Now here's where it gets personal for the giraffe. Picture yourself as an ancient herder, 10,000 years ago, staring at a giraffe for the first time, wondering if this could be your future livestock. Judge 1, diet. Giraffes eat up to 75 pounds of leaves a day, mostly from acacia trees, using an 18-inch tongue built for exactly that job. You can't just toss them grass. You need trees, tall ones, constantly. Already, that's expensive. Judge 2, growth and breeding. A giraffe pregnancy lasts around 15 months, over a year of waiting for one single calf. A cow gives you a calf in 9 months. A pig can give you a litter of 10 in under 4. The giraffe is playing an entirely different game on an entirely different clock. Judge 3, breeding in captivity. This one is brutal. Giraffes are extremely picky about mating conditions, and historically, breeding them reliably in confined spaces has been difficult even for modern zoos with veterinary teams and unlimited resources. Now imagine trying that 10,000 years ago with a fence made of sticks. Judge 4, temperament. A giraffe's kick can crack a lion's skull. Their legs alone have killed full-grown lions in the wild. Now imagine walking into a small pen with an animal that strong, that tall, and that easily spooked. One wrong move, and you're not hurting livestock. You're a warning story for the next generation. Judge 5, social structure. This is maybe the strangest one. Giraffes don't really have a rigid herd hierarchy the way cows or sheep do. Their groups are loose, shifting, and don't stay together for long. There's no single leader instinct for a human to hijack. You can't become alpha giraffe and expect the herd to follow you home. So run the tally. Expensive diet, painfully slow reproduction, refuses to breed on command, dangerous when stressed, no herd instinct to exploit. 5 judges, 5 rejections. The giraffe didn't fail domestication because of one flaw. It failed because it lost at literally every single stage. But here's what's easy to miss. This isn't really about the giraffe being unusual. It's about how insanely rare it is for any animal to pass all 5 tests. Out of roughly 148 large land mammal species on Earth, over 10,000 pounds, over 100 pounds, only about 14 were ever domesticated for livestock. 14 out of nearly 150. That's less than 10%. Zebras failed. Despite looking almost exactly like horses, zebras are far more aggressive, unpredictable, and prone to panic biting anyone nearby. Africans and Europeans both tried for centuries to tame them. It never really worked. Bears failed. Slow to reproduce, dangerous, and picky eaters. Elephants failed too, in a strange way. Elephants can be tamed as individuals, trained even, but they still refuse to breed reliably in captivity. Every domesticated work elephant in history was actually captured from the wild as a calf, not bred on a farm. So even elephants, despite thousands of years of human effort, never truly passed Judge 3. Now compare that to the animals that made it. Cattle descend from a wild ox called the aurochs, an animal humans hunted for tens of thousands of years before ever taming it. Pigs eat almost anything, grow fast, and breed constantly. Chickens lay eggs almost every single day and reach eating size in weeks, not years. These weren't the strongest, tallest, or most impressive animals on the savannah. They were simply the ones that happened to check every box on a 5-item checklist written by biology itself. And here's the moment that changes how you should see your own dinner plate. You didn't choose beef, pork, and chicken because they're the tastiest animals on Earth. You inherited them. Every meal you've eaten with meat in it traces back to a filtering process that happened before agriculture, before cities, before writing. A filtering process the giraffe simply couldn't survive. So what killed the giraffe's chances specifically, more than any other factor? If you had to pick the single deadliest judge, it's probably reproduction speed combined with captivity breeding. 15 months of pregnancy for an animal that also won't reliably mate under human control. Multiply that across generations, and you get an animal that is, from a farming perspective, almost worthless. Slow, unpredictable, and impossible to scale. Meanwhile, the modern giraffe population tells its own quiet story. Wild giraffes have dropped by an estimated 40% in just the last 3 decades. And today, there are fewer giraffes left in the wild than elephants. Most people don't know that. Giraffes have become so rare that conservationists now call it a silent extinction, because almost nobody is paying attention while it happens. And that changes the moral math too. Even in the handful of African regions where giraffe hunting has continued, growing scarcity has turned it from a rare tradition into a genuine conservation concern, with some countries now restricting or banning it outright to protect shrinking populations. So the giraffe didn't just fail an ancient audition 10,000 years ago. It's still failing a modern one, a survival audition. And this time, the stakes are extinction, not dinner. Now zoom all the way out, because this was never really a story about one tall animal in Africa. It's a story about how thin the line is between food and wildlife, and how almost none of that line was decided by taste or hunger or logic. It was decided by 5 cold biological filters, running silently underneath every civilization that ever existed. You grew up thinking your diet was a choice. Beef because it's delicious, chicken because it's convenient. But really, your diet was decided for you, thousands of years before you were born, by which animals happen to be slow enough, calm enough, and cooperative enough to lose their freedom. The cow didn't win because it was special. It won because it couldn't fight back hard enough, breed fast enough to be wasted, or refuse humans effectively enough to escape the filter. The giraffe walked away free, not because we spared it, but because biology never even gave us the chance to try. Somewhere out there right now, a giraffe is standing 18 feet tall, eating from a tree, completely unaware that it once failed an audition that would have ended its freedom forever. It didn't pass the test, and that failure is the only reason it still gets to be wild.